when my husband and I would have these amazing religious conversations, he would ask me questions about Christianity, mainly about the Trinity. And my answer was always, I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't give him direct, definite answers. And he said, Babe, why don't you know? Why don't you know what you believe in? When people say, oh, you're oppressed, and all this. And it makes me laugh. I went into the Quran, and the first thing that I read was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us, with hardship comes ease.
The following is a conversation with Amanda Ahmed from the United States, who shares her inspiring story of converting to Islam. Amanda's journey began when her husband challenged her beliefs, prompting her to embark on a deeper exploration of faith. Through her research and reflection, she found the truth in Islam and decided to embrace it. In this interview, Amanda opens up about her path to Islam, the challenges she faced, and how it has transformed her life. Join us as we explore her journey, her reflections on faith, and the lessons she has learned along the way.
My name is Amanda, and I live in the US in Atlanta, Georgia. And the main religion, I mean, we're in the deep South, and so it's definitely Christianity. I wouldn't say there's anything orthodox about it, but they are very much vocal Christians. So strong Christianity.
What was your religious or spiritual background when you first started learning about Islam?
I was a Christian my whole life up until about a year ago. And I was, it was a little bit difficult for me because I didn't have a lot of guidance, but I think that I've always been seeking. And so they actually have that term in Christianity, a seeker. I was a seeker. And I did go to church. I did participate. I always felt very close to God, but not necessarily close to Christianity, if that makes sense.
Right. Was there a specific event or person that led you to start learning about Islam?
Yeah, so I would say my husband. My husband is Muslim, and when we met, I was Christian, and we used to have these super deep conversations. And the more I watched him and the more I got to know him, I realized that he had something that was really unique. And it made me start to look at Islam very closely. So definitely my husband.
What was the defining moment when you decided to embrace Islam?
The defining moment. So I was doing a lot of searching. And when my husband and I would have these amazing religious conversations, he would ask me questions about Christianity, mainly about the Trinity. And my answer was always, I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't give him direct, definite answers. And he said, Babe, why don't you know? Why don't you know what you believe in? And that hit me to my core because I really realized that I was not lost, but I didn't know what I stood for. And so that was a defining moment for me to start going to look. Do you want me to lead into my Shahada or do you want to wait?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, so what happened was I started researching, and he and I, my husband and I, got into like a really not heated conversation, but a conversation where I was getting frustrated because I kept saying, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. And he said, okay, babe, like we're gonna just take a break. And we're not gonna talk about religion for a while because this is getting a little bit, And I think that he knew I needed to go on a journey and that it was my journey and that I needed to do it. And so that's exactly what I did. So I started reading the Quran. I started doing research. And there's a sisters group on Facebook that I like joined and I was asking questions and stuff. And there was a sister that said, hey, I'm in Atlanta and I want to meet other sisters. Is anybody around? And I went, oh, that's me. Like I want to connect with some sisters. And so I did, and I met a sister from Egypt, and her character was very much like my husband. And I realized there's something here. There's something different here. And she said, there are a couple of other sisters, reverts, that I think you would really enjoy talking to. And so I did. I met with a couple of other ones, and one of them, a specific sister from Venezuela, she met with me, and she said, um, we were talking and everything. And she said, like, what's stopping you from taking your shahada? And I said, well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not really, I'm not there yet. You know, like I need to like learn more. And she said, what more do you need to learn? And I said, well, I don't know. And she said, do you believe that there is only one God? And I said, I do. And she said, do you believe that Muhammad, peace be upon him, is his prophet and the last messenger? And I said, yeah, I do. And she said, sister, you're there. And I said, I'm there. And so I left with her and I called my husband and I said, I'm ready to take my Shahada. And he said, are you sure? And I said, I'm sure. And he said, okay, come home. And so I left that meeting with her and I drove home and I prayed the whole way to make sure, you know, that like this is good for me and this is the right thing. And I went home and my husband was like, he was a little bit nervous. He said, you know, are you sure? Are you sure? I said, yes, I'm sure. He said, you know, everybody's going to believe you're doing this because of me. And I said, that's okay. I'm not doing it because of you, but that's okay. And so I went and did wudu and I changed into my prayer robe and I took my shahada with him. And it was a very, very tender moment. But I can definitely say that my Venezuelan sister was the one that said, sister, don't wait. Like it's a journey. Like say your shahada, everything else is going to come. And that's exactly what happened.
MashaAllah, beautiful story. Did you
Yeah.
have any prior assumptions about Islam that shifted as you gain more knowledge?
Well, you know, I lived abroad for like a lot of my life. I lived in Africa and I lived in Spain and Portugal. I lived in Nicaragua. I traveled a lot. And I worked on a boat. I was a chef. And so I didn't have a lot of exposure to the news because I was out at sea a lot. But when I came back to the States, you know, after 9/11, I can say that I didn't really have a formed opinion. But I had seen the news and I had seen, you know, what they say and that it wasn't very positive. And so it's not that I had a specific view. I just had very, very, very little information, and what information I have was not positive. So, you know, I had never met a Muslim person before. And when I met my husband, who was the first Muslim, I didn't really have an opinion about him. I mean, I just embraced him for who he was. And then when I learned about Islam, I realized, hey, you know, what we heard on the news, that's not real. That's not the truth. So,
Are there any Muslim role models who have inspired you in your faith?
I can say, you know, I mean, I know I keep saying my husband, but definitely my husband because he's a very good Muslim and he's very, um, his character is he's got a very soft heart. He's very sweet and he's very, he doesn't force anything on me. Like he knows that my journey is my journey. And he's very, very strong in his faith. And he knows the answers to all the questions. And he knows all about the Bible and he knows all about the Quran. And he's a great role model for me. I would also say that my other Muslim sisters, who I now have a nice community, like they are, again, so strong and they give me strength. And they hold me accountable. You know, there are times when I may not necessarily be doing something wrong, but I had an instance where my mom did not know. And I got in a heated argument with her about Gaza. And I got very frustrated and I ended the call and I called one of my sisters and I said, you know, I'm so like angry and like, I'm going to call my mom and tell her that I'm Muslim. And my sister held me accountable and she said, sister, hold on. You know, Islam is all about intention. And if your intention is good, then yes, please do this. But if your intention is anger, take a breath. And sisters like that hold me accountable and keep me pure and on the straight path, and my husband together, those are excellent role models for me.
Do you feel your conversion to Islam has empowered or limited you as a woman?
Oh, it's given me I feel so empowered. It's so funny because, you know, I get so many questions when people say, oh, you're oppressed, you know, and all this. And it makes me laugh because Islam and the way that Islam feels about women and what they teach about women, it, it- it's it's softened me as a woman because as an American woman, I was a chef. That was my job for many, many, many years. And so I was working in a kitchen with a lot of men. And I had to be like this strong, like aggressive woman. And Islam has taught me to be the softer side of myself, but it's given me strength. It's given me strength in a different way that I can be quiet and speak my truth. And that voice is actually louder than if I stood there and screamed nonsense. It's really given me, it's really empowered me. And the people around me have said, you've changed, like you're different, and in a really good way. And I'm able now, I get more respect now, especially from men, than I ever did before. Um, and I told, I don't always, I'm not a full-time hijabi yet. I'm working on it. But when I am in my hijab, and even when I'm not, um, men open the door for me whenever we go somewhere. I get a lot more respect. I just get, it's like this veil of protection has come on me since I've become Muslima. Like it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
SubhanAllah.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, truly glad for you. How would you respond to people who suggest that women in Islam are treated unfairly?
I would say that um, that's not the true Islam. I would say that I know that things happen around the world and that there are some extremists in every culture, in every religion, and that I'm so sorry for women that are not treated well. But I would say that that is absolutely not what Islam teaches. Not at all.
Exactly.
Not at all. Yeah.
What challenges have you faced as a Muslim woman in the United States?
I haven't really had a lot of challenges. Alhamdulillah, that I have been accepted, but I can say that I have a presence on another online platform where people challenge me all the time, and they say really horrible things, and most of them, come from my old religion, and that makes me very sad. But what it's done, those challenges and that treatment, has really made me realize that, you know. That's something that I don't want to be a part of. That's one of the reasons that I choose to live the life that I live now, is because this Islam is a religion of peace and love, and that's what I want my life to be about. And so when I'm challenged, when people say things that are unkind, or when they have a negative perspective or idea about Islam, I'm reminded every time that I am an ambassador for Islam, and to always stay pure and true to my heart, and to know that the person that I'm talking to or the interaction that I'm having, this may be the first and only encounter they've had with a Muslim. And so I need to always be pure. And, manners are so important in Islam. It's one of the things that I love the most is how important manners are. And I just hope that when I face challenges, that I'm able to show them love, even in their negativity, and just stay true to my faith.
Is there a verse from the Holy Quran, a hadith, or a specific Islamic teaching that resonates deeply with you?
Well, with all of the things that have been going on in Gaza, it has deeply affected me, as I'm sure it has affected every Muslim. And there was one day that I was seeing some footage of what was happening there. And specifically, there was a young lady that was really suffering in her family. And I went into the Quran. And the first thing that I read was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us, with hardship comes ease. And I took that to my heart, and I've kept that in my heart. And I have made dua for Gaza and for all of the Palestinians, but also in my own life, knowing that Allah, He takes us through hardship and He gives us ease, and He, to just stay true and to have patience and just hold on when things do get hard, because that verse that stays in my heart always, with hardship comes ease. And it's so beautiful and it's so big, and it tells us so much about God's love and his patience and his devotion to us. So that's my favorite.
What do you think Muslims should know about reverts to Islam?
Ooh, like born Muslims, like what born
Born
Muslims should
Muslims,
know?
exactly.
I would say to remember that as a revert, we're new and we are like babies just opening our eyes. And it's a very exciting time for us. And that most of us want to really like dive in and do everything all at once. And, if you know a revert, I would say to tell them take it easy, and take it slow, that we have a really big journey in front of us. And that Islam for us is it's such a different thing from, especially if we're Christian, it's a very different life from what we've had before. Um, and in the Christian world, they go to church once a week, and that's it. That's their worship. Some of them pray throughout the week, and that's great. But being Muslim, we get to pray 5 times a day, and that's something that we build up to. It is a process for us, especially living in the West, because life moves very fast here. And we have to learn to put Allah first and prioritize our prayers. And it is a process. Also, the hijab is a journey. It's something that happens over time, and it's something that Allah puts on our heart. Um, it is to make all of these changes as a revert immediately. In my opinion, I think that it might be a little bit too much. I think that if you try to change everything at once, you might start to resist it a little bit. And so I would say with born Muslims, like, give us a little bit of grace and patience, and understand that, we're trying really hard to absorb and have all of this new beautiful stuff in our life. But that it does take time. Um, Also, please be patient with the culture clash, with the women or the Muslims that live in the West, because, I just experienced Christmas here. And if you live in the United States, you cannot avoid Christmas. It's everywhere. It is everywhere. It's part of the culture. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to participate, but it also means that you don't have to just say, nope, not doing it. Like most of our families celebrate Christmas, and we don't want to be apart from our families ever. We shouldn't be apart from our families. And that doesn't mean that we agree with it, but it also means that, we're trying to bridge the gap and learn how to navigate Islam in a Western country that's Christian, and with our families being, and maybe some of us are multicultural. When I married my husband, I was Christian. I didn't think I was going to become Muslim. And, he was okay with that at the time. I've asked him recently, like, how do you feel now? And he said, it would be really, really hard, if we did not share the same beliefs all the way. And so alhamdulillah that we are in that place now. But, he struggled, because my mother, is older, and I'm the only child, and she wanted to celebrate Christmas. And I wanted to honor her, but also stay true to, my faith and what I believe. Um, and so it was a challenge. And, we did our best, to support her, but not to engage in the Christmas activities. And so, it's hard. And all I can say is, born Muslims, like, just, give us love, support us, and know that our journey is over time. And, don't be harsh. Please don't be harsh on us. Because if you are, I've seen things on other platforms where people talk about the haram police. Um, just, go easy on us. Because if you're hard on us, it will make us nervous and perhaps not make us want to go deeper, And so that's what I can say. Just take it easy on us as we do this because we're so excited. We're so excited, so don't ruin it for us.
Mhm. What advice would you give to someone considering converting to Islam?
I would say, mashallah. And I would say that again, you know, it's a big sea of information. And if you're considering Islam, go ahead and take your shahada. And go ahead and do it because don't wait. There's no reason to wait. Once you take your shahada, then you'll start learning. I know that a lot of people who are considering Islam, they want to know more. They're not sure. They want to wait. And the truth is you can wait forever. So I would say go ahead and take your shahada and then connect with a community. Don't try to do this alone. This is something that is so beautiful. But if you have sisters or a community or brothers, they can guide you and support you, and it will make your journey easier. So find a masjid, find a community. If you don't have a masjid in your area, find an online community. I have a WhatsApp group for sisters because a lot of people reached out to me and said, I don't have anything. I don't have my family. I don't have a masjid near me. I live in a small town. I'm in America and I'm the only Muslim I know. And so we started a sisters group and it's very active, it's very active and the sisters supporting sisters. And so if you're considering converting and you don't have a group or you don't know what to do, definitely get in touch. Definitely get a connection and it will make your journey so much easier. And it's just beautiful because, every Muslim that I know has such a good character and is so loving and supportive. And tap into that, embrace that, and Allah will put that on your heart. That's the advice I would give.
Amanda, I want to thank you for being my guest. It was truly a pleasure to have you here and to be able
Thank you.
to share your story.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's been such an honor to be on this, and I'm so excited for your channel and all that you're doing, reaching people and sharing our stories and helping us get the word out that Islam is not something to be afraid of. It's a beautiful religion full of peace and love, and that what they see on the news, it's not what we believe. It's just some extremists doing some things that unfortunately it's not real. And so I'm so happy for you and I'm so excited for you. And inshallah, I think that this YouTube channel is just going to go viral and crazy, and I wish you the very best.
Inshallah. Thank you. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you for watching. If you or someone you know has a story of embracing Islam, we'd love to hear it. Your journey could inspire and uplift others. Feel free to reach out to share your story on this channel. Let's continue to celebrate the beauty of faith and the diversity of our experiences. Please share this video and don't forget to subscribe for more meaningful content. See you in the next one, inshallah.